You're listening to
Catholic Sprouts,
the daily podcast for Catholic kids that strives to plant seeds of faith. Hey there, Sprouts. Today is Monday, March 21st, 2022. So this Lent, we are spending time investigating the 7 vices that attack us, that tempt us to sin. We have already talked about envy, anger, and pride. This week, we are talking about gluttony. Now, gluttony is a big word. Perhaps you don't know what it means, but gluttony refers to the sinful overindulgence in food or drink. It can also be a sin when we eat more than we need, or we worry too much about what we are going to eat and drink, or we eat at the wrong time. So specifically, this could mean refusing to fast when the church tells us to. And remember, we have 2 days each year we are asked to fast if we are able. And those are Ash Wednesday and then coming up soon, Good Friday. So when we don't follow the church's rules on fasting, when we just focus too much on eating, when too much of our focus is there, and as would follow, it takes focus away from where we should be looking, that can become a sin, and we call that sin gluttony. Now, we're going to start this week off by looking at a parable that Jesus tells us about this sin, and we can see how just eating too much can really turn into a lifestyle and just temptations that roll upon each other. So the story is the story that Jesus told about the rich man and Lazarus, who was a poor man sitting at this man's gate. So we hear that there was a rich man, and all Jesus really says about him was that each night he ate sumptuously. So this means probably that he had a big feast, that he paid a lot of attention to the food he was eating, that he would dine for hours, and that it was really the focus of his life, eating, right? So he's here in his house eating and eating, and all the time there is this poor man sitting at his gate, starving to death. Right? And we hear he's not very well. The dogs come and lick his wounds. And he would have done anything to eat even the scraps that fell from this rich man's table. But the man didn't see Lazarus, didn't care about Lazarus, and didn't offer him any food. Even though his table was overflowing with food, he did not see the needs of others, and he did not share. So that's the situation. Jesus says then that both men die, both the rich man and Lazarus. Lazarus goes to heaven. He's up there perfectly happy, resting, kind of hugging Abraham up there. And where is the rich man? Well, he's in hell. He's tormented. He has a terrible thirst that cannot be quenched. He is suffering in hell. And he begs Abraham to send Lazarus back to warn his brothers that his brothers make different choices. But of course, Abraham says, there's been prophets. Jesus has come. They can listen to him. So that is the story. Now, as you can see, yes, the rich man was indulging in the sin of gluttony, too much focus on food, taking in too much food. But you can see that his sin didn't stop there. It's not that his only sin was eating too much and then he was an all-around good guy other than that. No, it's that his focus was on food, and he therefore neglected what he should have been focused on. Yes, focused on God, but also focused on caring for other people, seeing their needs, caring for them. He only cared about himself and his stomach. So we're going to keep talking about the sin of gluttony, and it's something I think is very, very important to think about during Lent, when we are fasting, both on those 2 days in a big way, but also fasting on little ways throughout the other days of Lent, whether you've decided to give up desserts or candy or something else. It's really good that we really investigate, how attached am I to food? And am I thinking about food more than I should? Thinking about it at times when I should be thinking about other people. So that's my challenge for you today, to just kind of start thinking about this and to evaluate how your fasting is going this Lent.
That's it for Catholic Sprouts today. We'll be back tomorrow, but until then, continue to grow in your faith and truly sprout into the beautiful creation that God created you to be.
Just one more thing. As we approach the end of Lent and Holy Week, we would like to invite you in joining us as we pray the Stations. Stations of the Cross are a beautiful thing to do both in your parish and at home. To help you do them at home, we have created a beautiful storybook version of the Stations, and we would love you to check it out. To find out more, check the show notes for this podcast episode, and you will find a direct link.
This show is a production of the Spoke Street Media Podcast Network. For more great podcasts, visit spokestreet.com.